Hi, I'm Geneva Long, CEO of Bowlus, and today we're in our showroom in Santa Barbara, California, and I have a special treat in store for you. We have a 2026 dealer demo Rivet. Now, before we get started, I'm going to take you through a whole walkthrough of this unit, inside, outside, every drawer, every compartment. But before we do that, I want to tell you a few things about Bowlus in case you've never heard of us before. So first of all, the Bowlus history spans back over 9 decades. Bowlus dates back to the 1930s when the founder, Holly Bowlus, designed the first aluminum travel trailer. That's right, it predates all other aluminum travel trailers. The Bowlus is the original. Now, we've been producing Bowluses since the revival for over 15 years in California. In case you've never heard about Bowlus, here's the top 3 things to note. Bowlus is known for its aerodynamic, lightweight design, and we'll get into all of that on why this Bowlus Rivet is extra special and extra lightweight. We're also known for our off-grid and off-pavement systems. Big battery design, solar arrays, great ground clearance. The Bowlus is meant to go anywhere and stay there for a long period of time. And then our quality. We build over 70% of all the components of the Bowlus ourselves in our factory in California, and that's unheard of. Most RV manufacturers are actually assemblers rather than builders, and that allows us to so tightly control our quality. Now, a few things to know about the Bowlus Rivet. The Bowlus Rivet is the most lightweight full-size RV. What does that mean? The dry weight is 2,800 pounds. The GVR of the Bowlus Rivet is 3,500 pounds. This is 25 feet long. Let that sink in for a second. This is the biggest floor plan for the lightest weight. Usually you only have to pick one or the other, but with this, you get both together. Why do you care about this? You can tow it with a huge variety of tow vehicles. 3,500 pounds is the lightweight cutoff for many smaller SUVs so that you can tow with things like the Ford Bronco, the Tesla Y, many Jeeps, some Subarus. That's the next cutoff. Of course, you can tow with bigger SUVs or even a truck if you wanted to, but this really opens up that entire world. Now, in terms of off-grid systems, this Bowlus Rivet has off-grid Power Pack 2, and what that means is it has over 11 kilowatt hours of lithium iron phosphate batteries. Again, unheard of. Most RVs that you purchase don't even have lithium batteries, and if they do, they are very, very small. They cannot run the systems off-grid. The Bowlus Rivet has 11 kilowatt hours of lithium iron phosphate batteries, 400 watts of solar on the roof, and you can add up to an additional 260 watts of suitcase style solar panels as well. What does this mean? You can be off-grid for extended periods of time, actually indefinitely. Because of the 400 watts of solar, that's enough to regenerate on a sunny day your power consumption of your fridge, of your lights, charging devices, running a Starlink Mini, and everything else that you're not thinking of, monitoring panels, pumps, etc. And why is that so important? Because we want to go off-grid. We don't want to have to be stuck at a campground plugged in. You want to be able to go to those locations on public lands, on national parks, state parks. Many of those were built in the 1930s, around the same time the Bowlus was, and they don't have the infrastructure that is required to run your power nonstop. And that's why you bring it along. That's why you bring it with you in your battery system. And you could run the air conditioner off the batteries as well, so there's no need to run a generator constantly, which is a huge unlock for off-grid camping. Now let's talk about getting to those off-grid camping destinations. You're going to need to find an RV that's built for off-pavement use. Dirt roads, gravel roads, all of that. And this Bowlus has the adventure package. So it has a 3-inch lift. It has all-terrain tires. It has the ground clearance and the departure angle on the back to get to all of those destinations that you're going to want to get to. It also is built for camping in all 4 seasons. So we use a force fit poly iso. We run all of the water lines inside. We have the fresh water tank inside. All of this is designed so that you can take your Bowlus into the dead of winter and camp in it the whole time extraordinarily comfortably. We pair this with a hydronic heating system, which I'll get into even more as we get inside. And then quality. We build over 70% of all the parts ourselves in-house, and this allows us to so tightly control the tolerances, the fit and finish, the quality, and we select the best systems. We don't just throw lithium in there, we have a fully integrated custom Bowlus power management system. Hydronic heat is a fully custom application just for us. This allows the Bowlus to have that fully integrated system and to have extraordinary high quality. We also start this from the very beginning when we make the frame. So this is a full monocoque aircraft design. That means that we have an all aluminum TIG welded space frame, and then we take aircraft grade aluminum. This is 2024 T3 aluminum, all clad. This type of aluminum is not used on any other aluminum RVs any longer. It's a different, softer alloy that you'll find on other aluminum RVs. But back to our aluminum, it is the same spec that's used on aircraft. So you won't run into issues with hail damage, you won't run into issues with leaking panels, and you won't run into these issues because of the way we build. So we use all aircraft grade structural rivets, and so that's built the old-fashioned way with one person on the outside with a rivet gun and one person on the inside with a buck, and we're pressing that structural rivet together with two people. We have over 5,000 of those. So you're starting to get the idea of the build time and the quality that goes into making a Bowlus. And then we build everything inside. We're not using laminates, we're not using glues, we're not using anything that may off-gas. When you walk into a brand new Bowlus, it smells like nothing, and shouldn't that be the goal? And that construction means that the Bowlus is built to last generations. Over 50% of the 1930s Bowluses are still on the road and being camped in, and we build that same way today. The Bowlus is also incredibly tech forward, but also easy to use. And I think that's such an important distinction. Tech only matters when it's improving your life, and the Bowlus certainly is that. So as we go through this walkthrough, you'll see that we have all really mechanical items. Everything is easy. The Bowlus is easy to tow, it's easy to camp in, it's easy to repair. And speaking of repairs, we have a fully mobile service network. And so we're able to dispatch a tech directly to you through Canada and the United States and get you service while you're on the road, even while you're far from home. And this is really the way that Bowlus does it differently. So let's get started with this walkthrough of this 2026 Bowlus Rivet with Off-Grid Power Package 1 and the Adventure Package. So we're gonna do it differently this video just to mix it up, and we're gonna start on the tail. And the tail is my favorite view because you have that beautiful view of all the 2024 aluminum panels coming together at the tail. But we'll get started with the water system first. Over here, we're talking fresh water. So this is where you'll fill the fresh water tank, 20-gallon fresh water tank. And so when you're gonna be off-grid, when you're not gonna have water at your campsite, that's where you're gonna fill that up. And then when you are at a campsite, you're gonna tap directly into the city water connection right here. So that's at your campground, there'll be a pedestal with water. You'll put your taste-safe hose from that end to this end, and then you'll have unlimited water. So two different ways to have water in your Bowlus depending on what type of camping you're doing. The water system inside the Bowlus is incredibly efficient because of that cassette toilet, so we'll be sure to talk about that on the other side. Also on this side, this is where your license plate will go. 2 screws here to secure it, 2 screws here to secure this, and then the license plate light as well. We have all LED taillights here, and those are all going to be turned on through a 7-pin on your tow vehicle. Now let's move on to the power system. So now we're going to talk all about power systems, and I could go on forever about power systems, so I'll try and be brief. So first of all, this Bowlus has 11.5 kilowatt-hour lithium iron phosphate power system, 400 watts of solar on the roof. This is our Off-Grid Power Package 1. Off-Grid Power Package 1 is an incredible specification because it allows you to go off-grid for a very long period of time. And that's another way to say that you can go off-grid and not have to be thinking about your power. So you have the solar on the roof. That allows you to be passively topping up your battery all the time. When you're driving, when you're at your campsite, think of the solar as powering everything inside that you're using daily. So your fridge, your lights, charging devices, charging computers, using a Starlink Mini, powering the water pump, powering everything you're not thinking of. And then you have your huge lithium iron phosphate battery bank, the 11.5 kilowatt hours. And you can think about that as running the air conditioner. So that's actually able to run the air conditioner for up to 16 hours completely off grid. And the way I like to think about that is to think about when you're using your air conditioning. So you're not necessarily running it all day. Maybe you're out, you're doing things during the day, you're returning to your Bowlus in the late afternoon. It's hot, you're kicking on that air conditioning, you're cooling down the unit. What happens over time, of course, as the sun sets, is that temperature is dropping anyways. At that point, we're turning off the AC, we're opening up all the windows, and it's a beautiful temperature outside. And so that's the way I like to think about air conditioning off-grid. You're able to stretch that over the course of multiple days. If you need to be running your air conditioning all the time, you can do that as well. You have the 16 hours off-grid, and then you can also get a small Honda 2200 watt generator. And the beauty of that is most RVs would not be able to power up their air conditioner or run their air conditioner from a small Honda 2200 watt generator because it's only 15 amp. And so the entire Bowlus air conditioner, as well as everything inside, but especially the air conditioner, can just run off of standard household outlet. So if you're visiting a friend's or family's home and you just want to plug in, run that air conditioner 24 hours a day, you're able to do that. Whereas most RVs, you would need a 30 amp plug, you would need a much bigger generator. So that's a huge unblock for the types of trips that you want to do. We also have the additional 2 solar panel ports here, 400 on the roof, and then you can do an additional 260 watts of suitcase style solar panels. Those suitcase style solar panels also do fit in the closet. Now, I just want to address how most RVs are thinking about power and solar. So most RVs come with very little power and maybe very little solar, and that's seen as an aftermarket thing you do. And that's one of the ways that RVs start at a much lower price. And then if you really consider those aftermarket things, you're gonna have to find someone else to do it. Maybe the dealer does it, but that's not really their specialty. And it's really going to change your performance because the whole RV was not designed to go off grid. So even if you throw a bunch of lithium in there, your systems still aren't efficient. Your air conditioner is still not able to run off 15 amp, which means that it needs a much larger inverter and it's a much bigger power suck. So when you're like us and you design from the very beginning, which is how it should be done, you have that fully integrated and holistic approach to the power systems, which gives you much better performance. It also gives you a lot more transparency into the money that you're spending to get you the performance you need, rather than it being something aftermarket and it kind of being a black box of how much it will cost. It also means that all of the storage you see now, the batteries are already integrated, and so you know that you're not taking up storage space or decreasing the carrying capacity by adding more batteries, which is a real consideration if you're looking to have aftermarket mods made to your RV's battery system. Now we're going to move on to gray water. So now let's talk all about the gray water system. So because we have a cassette toilet system, we separate the cassette or the black water from the gray water. So that means there's a gray water tank here, and that can be dumped with a standard garden hose. The nice thing about this is if you're on private property and you're using biodegradable soaps, that water can just be dumped onto the ground because it's not contaminated with your black water system. If you're at a campsite, you can simply drain that into the clean out as well. So there's a lot of flexibility when you have your cassette toilet system separated from your gray water system, and that's a simple dump down here. While we're here, I also want to point out the stabilization jacks, and there's 4 on this rivet. There's 2 in the back and 2 in the front. Now the 2 in the back are going to need to go down anytime someone might go inside the Bowlus, and a huge reason for this is the low tongue weight. We're going to talk about that more at the front. But because the Bowlus is so lightweight and has a low tongue weight, which means it can be towed by a huge variety of tow vehicles, it means these stabilization jacks have to get down when you're going to go inside. There's a hand crank that makes these go up and down in less than a minute. And then the other thing that I like is being able to put a bit on the end of a 12-volt drill that just brings these up and down super easy. And so you have 2 in the back and 2 in the front. And now I'll move back towards the adventure package. So now let's talk about that adventure package. We already talked about how the Bowlus is the off-pavement vehicle. It's designed to go down dirt roads, down gravel roads, to locations that are usually not possible for most other RVs to reach. You also have that aircraft grade aluminum, so you aren't worried about having things like rock guards on the front. Driving at a slow measurable speed can get you to so many destinations. And a huge reason for that is the adventure package. So you have the 3-inch lift and you have the all-terrain tires, which are fantastic. You can also, prior to delivery, decide that you want to add Aero Move. And Aero Move is an option that allows you to maneuver the entire Bowlus with a handheld remote, get it into very tight campgrounds, get it in by yourself, being completely unhitched. And so you would unhitch and then maneuver it into the place with the remote control. It's also great if you have a tight storage location, maybe by your home, that you would want to maneuver your Bowlus in for storage. While I'm over here, I also want to point out the drip rails that are over all of the windows and the awning rail. I have a whole video showing the setup of the awning. The awning rail is on either side and can be set up in about 3 minutes, just fully expanding your outdoor space. The Bowlus has polycarbonate windows here that are the full length of the living room on both sides. We also have sliding windows in the bedroom, as well as fixed windows in the bedroom, but we always use real brass screen, which is just so wonderful. No fabric screens inside a Bowlus. Now let's bring you back towards the front door. So now we're up on the front and we have that beautiful front door. Now that's a special feature of the Bowlus. On the beautiful front door, you'll appreciate the commercial grade locks. I'll let you hear those for a second. But no RV locks here, and that's on purpose. So a very secure shell with that commercial grade lock. We have the front door stay here. That keeps the door open. And I'll just close the door so you can hear how very solid it is. How an RV door should be made. So now we're here up on the front, and before we get started, I want to talk about hitching and towing. So when you start looking for an RV, there's everything from lightweight RVs to very big, heavy RVs. And the important question is, why would you care that you should have a lightweight RV? Well, first of all, you can likely tow it with a car that you already own, so you don't have to buy a new car. You can tow it very easily. This is going to change the types of adventures that you do. So if you have a heavy RV, you might just be towing it to one destination. You're not going to have that serendipitous travel experience where you go from destination to destination. Maybe you're at a harvest house one day. Maybe you're at a luxury campground the next. Maybe you're on BML land the third day. You're not going to think about trips in the same way when you have to pack up a big, heavy RV and the driving experience is harder. And speaking of driving experience, with the Bowlus, it's so very easy because it's the same width as your tow vehicle. It's very lightweight. It has a low center of gravity, no flat sides. And so what that means is in high wind conditions, still easy to drive. Lots of traffic, still easy to drive. Very easy for defensive driving. Stop quickly, accelerate quickly, exit off an off-ramp, go down a windy road. All of these things that would maybe provoke a little bit of anxiety in a big RV are simpler in a smaller RV. Also, with an RV the sizes that Bowlus makes, you can enter more spots. So it's important to get an RV between the 25 to 27 foot range because you can get into all of those national park stops, all those state park stops. It means that you're not left outside of the action. And so the Bowlus Rivet is that combination of the easiest full-size RV to drive. Because of that 25 feet, you also have a separate bedroom, you have an ensuite bathroom, you have a living room, you have a kitchen, and you have all of that in a package that's really easy to drive, park, and camp in. So back to the hitching, under a minute to hitch. You're simply having the 2-inch ball, a place for safety chains, the breakaway cable, and the 7-pin. And the 7-pin is going to operate your tow lights, your marker lights, as well as the electric brakes. You would get either a brake controller in your tow vehicle or a Bluetooth brake controller adapter that plugs in between your tow vehicle 7-pin and the 7-pin of the Bowlus. To hitch up is easy. You simply get it over the ball and crank this handle up and down to level it front to back, or bring this jockey wheel, which is on the front, all the way up so that that weight's on that ball. Lock it down, lock in the safety cables and the breakaway chain and the 7-pin, and you're on your way. Under a minute once you're practiced at it. The jockey wheel also has an integrated scale, so you can always tell what your tongue weight is. Depending on how you load, your tongue weight in the Bowlus Rivet is between 200 to 400 pounds. Tongue weight is so important, and people don't talk about this enough. That's going to really change the types of tow vehicles that you can have because of the payload of your tow vehicle. Most RVs that are 25 feet are going to have a really heavy tongue weight, and that means even if your tow capacity works for that RV, your tongue weight's not going to work. So it's both of them. The Bowlus Rivet is such an amazing sweet spot where you have that 3,500 pound GVWR, so you're looking for a tow capacity on your vehicles of 3,500 pounds and the tongue weight of between 200 to 400 pounds. Well, I'm also up here on the hitch. I want to go over the propane tank. Now, the Bowlus is completely all electric if you want it to be, but we do equip it to be hybrid. Any RV that is all electric means that you're not going to be able to use it in the winter, which is why we have the hybrid capacity. The only appliance that the propane tank is powering is the hydronic heating system. And the hydronic heating system can also run off of batteries, shore power, or off propane. But when you're winter camping with giant temperature differentials, you're going to need the propane tank to make up those big temperature differentials so you can still enjoy winter camping. And while we're on winter camping, let's talk about that for a second. The Bowlus is truly a Four Seasons RV. We have the polyiso insulation. That's force fit. You're not finding that other fluffy pink insulation that has a lower R value, can lose its R value if it gets wet. So you have a fantastic monocoque shell. That insulation goes all the way around. The freshwater tank and all the water lines are also inside the shell. So that means as long as you're keeping the heat on, you still have full use of your water systems. We have customers who are camping all year round in places like Vermont, places like Northern Canada, places like the mountains in Colorado, all with their Bowlus because they know they can have that full performance in all four seasons. Now let me move around to this side. So I'm here on the front step. And so what I want to point out is how easy it is to enter the Bowlus. You just have 2 steps, and that's because of that step in frame design rather than step up frame design. It's because of how we build the Bowlus differently. It also means that it's easier to get up and down, carrying kids, carrying gear, carrying dogs, carrying whatever you might be carrying and get inside the Bowlus. I also want to point out that you have the step handle here, and you also have the step light here. And then the step does fold up. And we'll insert a video here of me folding up the step. That allows you to have even more ground clearance. The real advantage of a step-in frame design is it allows you to have 2 really unique things. First of all, incredible ground clearance. So the Bowlus has ground clearance that's probably higher than the SUV that you're driving, but it also means that it's not incredibly high on the exterior. So you're not worried about low bridges. You're not worried about hitting the top in the same way that you would be in most other RVs. So now as we move back on this side, I also want to show off the outdoor storage. So the outdoor storage goes all the way from this rivet line all the way back to this rivet line. So it's really long. You can fit things like telescoping outdoor chairs. You can fit your electrical cable, your freshwater hose, your gray water hose. All of that can fit in this outdoor storage shed along with your awning. So this is lockable as well. So they just twist open like that. We've got our awning in there. And there's also a conduit inside the outdoor storage shed that allows you to run the cord for a Starlink Mini. So it allows you to plug the Starlink Mini in on the inside and then run the plug out here so you can have the Starlink Mini set up outside for your connectivity needs. Now let's move back towards the toilet. So this is the emergency exit here. Obviously, it's only able to be opened on the inside. And down below, we have the toilet cassette. I have a whole video all about our toilet cassette and our decision and why this is the best decision, why it's found in most European RVs, why it gives you the flexibility to dump it anywhere. Toilets, porta potties, on the road, never bringing your RV to the dump station, never dealing with the stinky slinky. So you have a much easier, more flexible, more hygienic system. All of that said, you probably have more questions, so go over to that video. And in the meantime, this is where the cassette is. This is fully lockable. The cassette simply pulls out here. And then to dump into a toilet, you unscrew this and then simply dump it. And there is a button here for an air valve for a continuous pour. This lasts a couple up to a week off grid. And so super easy and flexible to dump. And it also uses a lot less water, which is important. So you can save that 20-gallon freshwater tank for showering, for dishes, for all of that. And you're not using it for your toilet system the same way that you would be in most other RVs. So that gives you more flexibility for that off-grid time. And now we're going to take you inside this 2026 Bowlus Rivet. So we're inside the 2026 dealer demo Rivet, and I just want to talk a little bit about what dealer demo even means. So what it means is that this unit has been used as a demo unit by our dealership, Bowlus of California in Santa Barbara, to show those who are coming to visit us in our showroom in Santa Barbara this unit, as well as taken to events, photo shoots, media experiences, that type of thing, although it has not been camped in. And so this is a great way to get into a Bowlus, of course, at a price that reflects that use while still enjoying a Bowlus that is new, that has never been registered before. It comes with our 1-year certified pre-owned warranty. It comes with 24/7 technical support, roadside assistance for 1 year, as well as access to our mobile service network that is nationwide for service. So let's get into all these features inside. And right now I'm standing in the kitchen. Bowlus floor plans are always going to be done in a way to maximize that separate bedroom in the back, that ensuite bathroom, separate living room, which does also convert into 2 beds, and then of course the kitchen that I'm standing in right now. And the benefit of having the kitchen here is that of course I can open this door and have the fresh air come roll in. It's the perfect place to be cooking, and it's not next to your bedroom. That's one of the things when I look at other RV design and other RV floor plans that I just hate, this idea that I'll be cooking right next to my bed. I do not want my bed to smell like fish. I do not want it to smell like dinner. I want it to be that separate area. So here we are inside of the Bowlus kitchen. We have a 2-burner induction cooktop on this side. And because it's induction, this also doubles as a huge prep space. I have so much prep space here, which is amazing. Below, I have the 12-volt fridge with freezer, and I'll just open that up for you here. And then next to it, I have even more storage. There is a 3-level cabinet. I love this for that nesting cookware. That takes about 1 cabinet, and then also your pantry items. There's outlets everywhere. So outlets here, 3,000 watt inverter on board means you can run your blender. It means you can run your food processor, your Nespresso, your coffee maker. Everything can run off grid. And that's really important for getting that home experience on the road. And then over on the other side, you have your microwave here. 2 drawers down below. All of our drawers are going to be hard pull so that they don't open when you're driving, and soft close. And you'll just appreciate just how big they are. You know, that's the size of my hand. They're that full countertop depth, so lots of storage. And then I have another cabinet on this side, which is perfect for cleaning supplies, small garbage can. And then oversized sink, and this faucet does extend outdoors. Let me show you how long it is. And then I also have the vent and lighting up above. So that vent works by mechanically closing and opening it. And we have really great feeling inside because we don't have any of our storage up top. So you don't have that claustrophobic feeling. We also have that height of 6'4" inside. So a great RV for those taller folks as well. We also have the lights up above, which are all LED, all are independent. So we have the kitchen switch right here, turning off and on, and dimming as well for ambiance. Now let's move on to the living room. So now we're here inside the living room of the Rivet. And first I want to point out we have the dinette on this side. We'll go over everything on this side, take you over the other side, and then I'll give you some other features. So I'm sitting here at the dinette. You'll notice that it's oversized. 2 people can have laptops open at the same time. This is an amazing workstation, especially if you're going to grab something like a Starlink Mini. You can have full connectivity inside your Bowlus Rivet, working remotely, working in the middle of nowhere. It really is a fantastic workspace. Even if you need something like a printer, there's that 3,000 watt inverter, which is pure sine wave. And so the printer can also work just as well. When you're at the dinette, you have that amazing full length windows on either side. They're at eye level. They are all slidable. And you have that beautiful brass screen right here as well. And so you're getting fresh air. I also want to point out the natural thermosiphon inside of Bowlus. So the cool air enters through the windows, and then there's no flat roof. Everything's curved, as you can see inside of Bowlus, and we have those 4 beautiful vents that are on the top. And so cool air comes in, hot air rises, and it rises out through the vents as well. So really comfortable without even turning on the air conditioning. Also in the living room, you have charging down below. So you have both USB, USB-C and 120 volt here. This is also where all your breakers and 12 volt fuses are located at. we also have all of our storage down low. So in the kitchen, I talked about why it feels so open, but you can really appreciate that inside the living room. You have your 5 drawers here, which is similar to the 5-drawer dresser that you probably have at home. And that's really great for your storage. I'll open one here. They're all the same size to give you an idea. All hard pull, soft close. And then over on the other side, we have that sofa that can fit 3. We have the same sliding windows. We have the same lighting up above as well. So nice, bright, and open when you want to be. And then we have these really wonderful curtains that all close down, and you can shut this down and make it dark and private and perfect for sleeping, which is fantastic. And then that separate bedroom. So I'm going to show you how the whole door system works, but you'll appreciate how this whole living room can be kept separate. Someone can wake up earlier than the other, make their own coffee, don't wake you up. You can have kids sleeping out here and still have that separate area. So much flexibility. It's so important to get an RV with a separate bedroom. I also want to point out our hydronic heating system. And so we've already talked about why the Bowlus is a great 4 seasons RV, but the hydronic heating system has the radiators down below. Now this is a silent, consistent heat. So it's not where you have the heater coming on, it's loud, it is warming up the inside of the cabin, and then it waits till the temperature drops and then kicks on again. The Bowlus is completely different. It's just consistent, warm, beautiful heat, so efficient, perfect for winter camping. So let's talk about how both of these are convertible into twin beds. So you have the sofa on this side, convertible into a twin bed, 6'1" in length, so an adult can sleep there. And then over on this side, the dinette is also convertible. You move up the table and there's 2 inserts. You slide those cushions together and it's so comfortable. I also just want to talk about how comfortable the environment is inside the Bowlus. You have really plush foam. You have the perfect angle on the back seat. People walk into the Bowlus and the first thing they always say is, wow, this just feels so comfortable. I don't want to leave. And you have that also performance fabric. So really fantastic for the rugged adventure that you might want to do. Same thing with the flooring. This flooring is a very high-end vinyl product that professional basketball courts are built from. And so it is perfect for, performance, for treating it rough. And that's exactly why we use it. And then in terms of the couch, you can seat 5, 2 at the dinette, 3 on the sofa, and you can just appreciate how big the sofa is. Even when I swing over, there's still more than enough room for someone else to be sitting there too. So lots of room for everyone. Let me show you how these curtains roll down. And so you can have that full privacy. So now I want to show you the Bowlus Rivet's bathroom. But first, before we get started, let me show you how this beautiful door system works. So first, I'm going to close the door between the bathroom and the bedroom. And I'll just step back to give you some perspective there. So the door between the bathroom and the bedroom is closed. Now I'm going to walk into the bathroom and I'm going to turn around and close off that door between the living room and the bathroom. So now I'm inside the Bowlus bathroom, and on this side you'll be able to see that emergency exit we saw outside. We have the toilet on this side. We've already gone over all those Cassette toilet reasons. This is the flush valve on the toilet that opens and closes the valve. And then behind it, this blue button adds water to the inside of the bowl. You also have the air conditioning vent here. You had another one in the living room and another one in the bedroom. Fully vented, air conditioning off grid. Really great. It also has a dehumidifying mode as well if you were somewhere that was humid but not hot and you wanted to reduce that. We've talked about the hydronic heating system. So this is where the glycol gets filled in through. This is a maintenance thing that's going to need to be done every 2 years, where you remove the glycol fluid on the inside and replenish it with the correct glycol fluid. Very easy to have your mobile tech do this for you. And then moving over here, I have the vanity. I have storage behind the vanity here. Everything's magnetic. And then I have my vanity light switch, the light for the vanity, the water pump over here. You also have your vanity sink, stainless steel countertops, the plug. So hair conditioners, you can run your Dyson off the Bowlus, very important, at least for me. And that way you can still run all the appliances you would at home. You're not limited. That's gonna be a temperature sensor. This is your air conditioner intake, and then storage down below. And then in terms of controls, we have our heater boiler control here, and I'll just turn that on briefly for you. But you can set the temperature and then of course tell it how we want it to power. So whether we want it to use propane, electric, set the temperature inside, and then this also is what does the hot water for you. You can of course have hot water without having heat. And then over here on this side, inverter charger panel, you can also set the current, which is great. Main power switch. So this is on right now. Obviously we have power inside, but you can also put it in storage mode, which is great because it means there aren't any draws that are coming from the battery when you're in storage mode. We have a great touchscreen panel here that shows you what's going on. So it shows you your battery level. We have 53% right now. Shows us what we're using, DC power and any loads. And then it also shows you our solar absorption. So we're at 83 watts right now. We're just barely outside. We're outside just under a tree. So that's great. It has that MPPT solar absorption. So you can absorb even when you're not in full sun. And then you have your air conditioner panel right here. And we're not plugged in, so I can turn on the inverter and you can see that panel light up, and then you can see all of the controls here as well. So that gives you a little bit of an overview of this side. And before I take you over, I just want to show just how much room there is inside this bathroom. So those are my feet. You can see there's room for someone else to stand in here if they wanted to. Lots of hooks, that's the storage hook there. And then let's step into the shower. So now I'm going to step into the shower, and a shower is going to be a sit down shower for most people. But as you can see, when I'm sitting down, there's really lots of room. So really comfortable, easy to wash hair. My number one thing about most RV showers is you actually can't put your hands above your head to wash your hair. And there's tons of room to do that inside a Bowlus. You have also that Italian shower head here, which is wonderful. And then you would close this door when you're showering. And then that's what your shower is like sitting at the shower bench. I also want to point out this clothes hanging bar. So this is the hanging storage inside the Bowlus other than the hooks inside. You have those 5 drawers, but you also have this hanging storage bar, which I'll show you. And then your clothes hanging would just go right there. And obviously you would take it out when you're using the shower.
So now I want to show off the bedroom. So we have this amazing king bed, 6'7" in length, 80 inches wide at the top. You have that beautiful birch wood. I didn't get a second to point that out in the living room. This is all real wood, no laminate inside a Bowlus, and of course that beautiful aluminum surrounding you inside on the ceiling. Reading lights here, those click on and off here. There's also USB charging there for any devices. You have that separate bedroom light up above here, those 4 LEDs. This is dimmable as well. Air conditioning vent here. And then for that privacy, these blinds roll down to secure, and obviously on this side as well. And the windows up at the top slide open and close. The windows towards the tail also have wood blinds so that those can be blocked off, giving you a wonderful cocoon-like sleep. This bed, of course, is our king bed configuration, but the Bowlus Rivet also does come in a twin bed configuration if you preferred that. And then at the foot of the bed, we have that beautiful heater booster fan for your toes in the winter. And then we also have more USB-C charging. Now I'll show you what it's like to get into the king bed. And you'll just appreciate just how big it is. I'll lay back. So tons of room to get comfortable, that king bed width, and of course that separate bedroom. So I'll show you what it's like when the door is closed. We obviously have the door closed between the living room and the bathroom right now, but to add that double door system, I'll just close that right now. And that's what the Bowlus bedroom is like when we have the door closed, everything wound down, those window shades closed. And ready to get ready for bed. Thank you so much for joining us for this walkthrough of the 2026 Dealer Demo Rivet. This Bowlus is currently available at our showroom at Bowlus of Santa Barbara. So if you'd like to come see it, please schedule an appointment today. If you have questions about it, please call, text, or email our sales team. Our information is below in the description. As I said, this comes with a 1-year warranty. It's been reconditioned to like new condition. This is a Bowlus that is meant to be a lifetime RV, built to be repaired 90 years from now, just like the original. And speaking of service, you're always welcome to return to us at our Bowlus factory in Oxnard, California for factory service, but we have a fully mobile service network. So this means we can dispatch a technician directly to you when you're on the road or of course closer to home, and that allows us to have that full nationwide coverage. Also included with your purchase is 1 year of roadside assistance and 24/7 technical support that includes lockout assistance. So a really fantastic way to buy with confidence no matter where you are. We also have over 50% of our Bowlus owners buy completely remotely. We are able to ship directly to you in your home state and take care of the registration for a seamless experience. For more questions on this Bowlus or any other Bowlus, please contact our sales team via phone, text, or email. All of that information is below. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow along for even more Bowlus content. I'll see you on the next one.